Hi everybody, John Cena here with FunkQuest Season 4, Quarterfinal 3, and two very experienced funksters on the show. We have the world champion in swimming pool karate and a lady that messes about with her peas on the plate, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Less babbling from the presenter. Cathy, tell us where you're dialing in from.
Hey, I am coming to you from the central coast of California, which is halfway between San Francisco and LA.
Fantastic. Vicki, where are you dialing in from?
I'm dialing in from North Surrey, very close to the Windsor borders. I could see the castle and the Windsor Great Deer Park in England.
Can you see Windsor Castle from your house?
No, not really. I'd have to bulldoze all of them and then just look over the corner, but then I could, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, if you are new to the show, you'll figure it out. It's very easy. If you have not voted before, you can vote for one of these ladies to go through to the semi-final of Season 4, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show. Usual FunkQuest rules apply. No swearing, no politics, no religion. Apart from that, say what you want. So we're going to ask the world champion for swimming pool karate, who we appointed in Season 1, I think, Cathy, to go first. So you can have a circus tent, a jaguar, an astronaut, or a steeplechase.
Jaguar.
Jaguar. What languages do you wish you could speak?
Italian for sure.
Yeah.
And I wish I had the competency with Spanish that I had in my younger years, because I think then the Spanish would just make picking up the Italian so much easier, because they're both Romance languages and they both have a lot of similarities to them. But, you know, it's like a use it or lose it. I haven't really used my Spanish in, I don't know, a handful of years, so it's kind of gone.
What were the circumstances of learning?
I learned it in high school when it was required to take 3 years of a foreign language. And I was in Southern California, it was in LA at that time. And so Spanish was a super useful language to have, because we're so close to the Mexico border, and there were just like tons of native Spanish speakers. I went to school with lots of native Spanish speakers. And so it was easy to have conversations with people. And I even, as a matter of fact, when I was becoming a school teacher and I had to do some student teaching, I actually did some of my student teaching in Spanish at a school where there was a huge population of kids that were still speaking Spanish that didn't have English yet. So I could even teach in Spanish at that point.
So you speak a little Spanish. It's rusty, but you want to speak Italian. That's the answer. Excellent.
Yes.
Vicki, you can pick a circus tent, an astronaut, or some of the men doing the steeplechase.
I'm going to go for the astronaut, please.
The astronaut. What is the most outrageous thing you want to achieve?
World dominance. That's easy.
World dominance by when?
In this life. I think I spend a lot of time going, oh, don't we all? Like, well, I could do that better. I could make that idea up. And what I really realized during lockdown is it's all well and good criticizing other people, but you've got to come up with the ideas. And I spent a lot of time over the last 2 years creating policies. So far in the last 2 years, I have reinvented the education system. I've solved poverty. I've dealt with inner city housing.
Northern Ireland.
Quite frankly, I don't think, and we're not allowed to mention religion, but that you can ever solve that. That's people's belief system, so they can crack on.
How will your world dominance manifest itself? How will people know that they are being ruled by Vicki and not by the government?
Because they will have much happier lives, and they will be stress-free, and they will have much better math skills, of course, and therefore manage their money. There won't be debt, and then we will be able to break out of this cycle that we're in of buying rubbish.
Conspicuous consumption. Excellent. Good answer. Cathy, question 2. You can pick an old-style phone, some party balloons, a silver car, or some stained glass thing.
Stained glass thing.
Stained glass thing. Where do you keep your old photographs?
Boom, easy. Right in the closet next to me, there are some storage containers with, like, you know, old, like, printed photographs. And then there's also some in the garage. And then, of course, nowadays, right there on the computer, which I kind of lament, because there is something so satisfying about reminiscing and like digging through the pile of the old photographs and like having this like actual tangible connection to it that you just, I don't know, when they're on the computer, you just kind of like scroll past and it doesn't seem to have the same impact that the tangible ones have. So yeah, that's where they're at. And I went through some recently and I was like, oh my God, who is that person? Like,
this has cropped up before, actually, old photographs. And, you know, you could go to any public place now and people would walk about, take a photograph of something like a museum item and just carry on walking. Right. Whereas with old photographs, you had to own it more. You had to send it off. It had to come back, and you know you got to pack it through the post, and you were waiting. And oh my goodness, it might be here today. And you get them out, and you've got a packet of 24, and you know 5 have come out or something like that. I mean,
yeah, I feel like you were so much more mindful of what you were taking pictures of too.
Yes.
You didn't want to waste your film, right? You wanted to make sure that you got like the most special photographs you could.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Hi everybody, John Cini here, and we are recruiting for Season 5 of FunkQuest. If you have interesting stories to tell, if you are a celebrity in a micro niche that nobody's ever heard of, we want to hear it. There's a link below, or go to FunkyThinkers.com/FunkQuest. Question 2, Vicky, you can pick an old phone, some balloons, or a silver car.
What's got the better question?
Balloons.
Balloons. Okay, how many James Bonds can you name?
Oh, now we're talking. So if we go back the other way, we've got Daniel Craig, Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Tim, what's his face? There was one in the middle that didn't quite, he only ever did one.
George Lazenby.
Yeah, well, that was much older, wasn't it? Yeah, but mostly Sean Connery. And then in terms of naming the villains, I don't know that I can name them. So there's the one with the little finger, Mr. or something, and the cat. The dude. Yeah, little finger, bald head, little finger, and a cat. That one. Yeah. Then there is Jaws with the big teeth. Then there was the guy who threw his metal bowler hat. And then I think it's almost been a bit harder in the more recent ones to work out. They're
more stealthy.
Yeah, it's not like that one person. It was the whole. And there was the last couple of films have been about that organization that he's fighting against. But what I really would want to say is that technically, for a very, very brief moment, there was a female James Bond in the last film, and I won't spoil it too much, but because James Bond retired in the one before he was retired, the number 007 is reallocated and it's allocated to a woman. And I wonder whether that will be the only woman that comes up, because controversially here in Doctor Who, and I'm all for women in all roles, really struggling to get behind Jodie Whittaker as a female doctor.
My theory on Doctor Who, and Cathy, don't know what on earth we're talking about. My theory on Doctor Who is your favourite Doctor Who is the one that you were there when you were about 12 years old. So for us, it's probably Tom Baker. He's got a long scarf with question marks on a trilby hat. How much cooler do you need to be? Question 3, Cathy, you can pick some paper clips, apt for California, a winter scene, a brunch, or a picnic.
Brunch.
What's weird about you? Everything.
Okay. What is weird about me is how do I even describe this? I literally believe that energy is everything, and I am obsessed with trying to help people understand that you are just an electromagnetic vibration. And I will talk about these weird esoteric concepts, but in a way that is both science backed and mystical. And I totally I am all about here's my crystals, and I'm going to focus my energy, and I'm going to make stuff happen. And when I do that, when I really focus and I believe in stuff that people don't believe in, it happens every single time. So I think maybe what's weird about me is that I am magical, and I know it, and I believe it.
I was going to say, when we wrote that question, we expect people to say, I've got, I can play the guitar or something like that.
I also think it's weird that I own lightsabers and I have one sitting next to me. So there's that.
Lightsaber, does that work? Does it, have you got some power to make that go? That's cool. That is cool.
Can you
I know why you've got that.
Because I am a Jedi Knight.
And a Disney guru.
And a Disney guru, that too.
I think that's the first time the lightsaber's cropped up on the show. Vicky,
Yes.
question 3. You can pick some paper clips, winter scene, or a picnic.
I'm going to have a picnic, please.
Picnic. What is the worst thing to hear before buying a house?
So I suppose it depends where we are in the before process. So before you go looking, you've got bad credit rating. That would be bad. But
I'm thinking more of you going to the solicitor's office, whatever Cathy calls them, and you got your pen and you're about to sign. What would be the worst thing to hear then?
Yeah, that the lender's withdrawn their offer.
Yeah.
And depending on, again, where you are in the process, by the way, the surveys come through and you've got damp or anything like that. But quite frankly, anything on a survey is fixable, and it's just a matter of price, and that's an opportunity to negotiate. So I don't think that there is anything bad you can hear before buying a house, because there's always a solution. You know, I'm up there.
So presumably the serial killer that lived there before wouldn't have put you off buying it.
But you know what? Just to pick up on Cathy's thing, I think you can tell the energy of a house. I walked into a house. I'm maybe not as energetically connected as Cathy, but I do have very many of those same beliefs as her. And I've walked into a house before and I just knew something had happened in this house. Either somebody had died or something bad had happened in it. And I've been in a lot of properties, and there have been houses I've moved in where I won't go upstairs. There was definitely one house I wouldn't go upstairs on, and one house that we went upstairs and I felt so uncomfortable. I literally started to feel sick, and it wasn't a smell. I've also been in very smelly houses where it's the smell that's making you feel sick, but yeah.
Cathy, question 4. You can pick a camera, some horses, a radio, or a rocky beach scene.
Let's do the camera.
Camera. When did someone last pull the wool over your eyes?
Oh.
When you bought your house?
Not then, for sure. Gosh, I feel like it has been a while, because I just don't put up with that. And because I am so energetically attuned to other people, it's like, I know when you're lying to me. So maybe even the fact that sometimes people try to lie to me, and I'd be like, I know that something's up. And so I don't even buy into it. So I think, when was the last time somebody tried to, but I was like, I'm not smelling what you're selling. Probably was just last week when somebody was like, oh no, I feel joy and I am good and it's fine. And I was like, oh sister, it is not fine and you don't feel joy.
Do you think that lockdown and all the various things that have gone with it have accelerated people's kind of lack of tolerance of BS?
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, I think that we're kind of weary of it. And that our eyes have kind of been opened to sort of like this constant flood of it, but almost to the point where people are more numb than they are willing to do something about taking action.
Vicky, question 4. You can pick some horses, radio, or a rocky beach seashore.
As a mermaid, I definitely have to have a rocky beach, please.
Rocky beach sea. This is one for you, being in property. Where do you keep your guests away from?
Nowhere.
If I knocked on your door now, I could walk around everywhere around your house and you go, yeah, fine.
Yeah, I'm just having a wander around my house in my head. Yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have those filters. If you get through the door, that's the door. It's who would I allow in through the door is probably a bigger question. Once you're in the door, then yeah, it's all open. Because
the answer to the question is, where do you keep your guests away from? The answer is the whole house.
The front door.
They ain't getting through the door. Me and Cathy come have a coffee, we'd be in.
Yeah, you could be in. Well, providing I invited you for a coffee in the first place. Aha.
Yeah.
Although I think that the other side of the question is, right now, it's not so much where do I keep my guests away from, but what do I stay away from? And it's pretty much everybody.
Everything and everybody, yeah. Question 5, are we on? Cathy, you can pick a dartboard, a bike ride, a fire engine, or a red costumed lady.
Okay, let's do the red costume.
The red costume.
Yep.
When have you ridden a horse?
The last time I rode a horse was about right before, so COVID started in 2020. So in 2019, I rode a horse on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. It was at the Wanderlust Festival, which is a yoga and music festival that I absolutely adore going to, because everybody just loves and accepts you for who you are. There's just such a family feeling of belonging at the Wanderlust Festival. And one of the things that you could choose to do was go on a sunset horseback ride. And it was just my husband and I and the guide, and it was like so fabulous, and what's really cool about the island of Oahu is they do a lot of movie filming there, like the newer versions of Jumanji and a couple of other things. So as you're riding through, the guide was explaining about what they filmed and things like that, and then we ended up at the beach for sunset, and it was so look how far I've come since 1999. So like 99 to 2019, in 20 years my life has totally transformed.
Vicki, you can pick a dartboard, a bike ride, a fire engine.
I might go for a bike ride then.
Bike ride. Where were you on the 31st of December 1999?
That's easy. We were on a beach just outside Tampa Bay, because what we had decided to do was to go to Disney for the end of one century, etc. And so that day we got up really early because we were staying in Tampa, went out to the beach, and we watched sunrise that morning. But the night before, we'd been at a party on the beach to watch all the fireworks, and I was with my family. And yeah, we wanted to make it that big. Well, you do, don't you? And I think maybe each year you do, but particularly significant dates like that, when you're trolling over from either one century or one decade, then being with people that matter to you, doing things that matter to you, and for me, being by the beach and exploring places with people that I love was a really cool thing.
I was just going to say, there's a thing on the BBC website the other day about there is no reason why you need to start a resolution on the 1st of January. There's no reason at all. It's just because it makes it nice in our heads to do that. That's the end of the show. So one of these ladies is going to go through to the semi-final. We're looking for the most original thought, ideas, suggestion. Its voting is easy. Leave a comment on FunkyThinkers.com with who you want to vote for. Cathy, world swimming pool karate champion, or Vicki, who plays with her peas and food like we found out on the previous episode. Do not vote on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeartRadio or any of those other platforms you might be listening to us on. Must be on FunkyThinkers.com. Cathy, how can we find out more about you?
You can find me at thejoyhealer.com.
Thank you. And Vicki, how can we find out more about you?
If you can spell my name, you can find me anywhere. So Vicki Wusche at vickiwusche.com, or on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those.
Fantastic. Ladies, we'll see one of you in the semi-finals. Thanks so much for being on the show, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you. Bye.